Friends, good morning, and welcome to worship on this beautiful Sunday here from the historic sanctuary of the Fountain Street Church in Grand Rapids, Michigan. My name is Nathan Dannison. I'm the minister here at Fountain Street, and I want to welcome you to our worship service this morning. Before we continue today's service, there's a couple of announcements that I want to make and some exciting things happening. But first, and most importantly, because I knew I would forget if I didn't mention this, a couple weeks ago, somebody lost a coat. A coat went missing, and it was a black coat that was very special. We have located the coat. I have it in my possession. Yes, all things are possible. If that was your coat, please come find me or call me or get a hold of me, and I will reunite you with it. After worship today in the social hall, there's going to be a nacho bar. It's a fundraiser for the youth group, for the Fountain Club. So if you want, stick around after worship and join us in the social hall. And then next Sunday, following worship, next Sunday, April 26th, a bunch of us are going to the Whitecaps game, or going to the baseball game that afternoon. It's a fundraiser for the Choice Fund. So please consider spending next Sunday afternoon with us at the Whitecaps game. I think that's a 2:30, 3 o'clock kind of commitment. Next Sunday is also Reverence for Life Sunday. So next Sunday, you are welcome to bring your animal companion with you. We'll be joined by a couple of other ministers. Baba T is going to join us, and Reverend Ginny Makita will be here to preach and bless animals, and or a picture. If your animal is like mine and doesn't really spend a whole lot of time in church and doesn't particularly want to, you can bring a photograph as well. So this season has been one of some loss in the life of our congregation, and we recently learned of the passing of two Fountain Streeters. Phil Reed passed away, and Mary Thompson has also now passed out of our life together. Phil's memorial will be May 16th at 11 a.m. here, and Mary Thompson's will be Saturday, May 23rd at 11 a.m. And then just a reminder that Louise Burkhalter's memorial is going to be May 2nd at 11 a.m. And more information about these Saints of Fountain Street Church and these services is available in the chimes. And so make sure that you check the chimes for that as well. Our beautiful flowers today on the altar were given in memory of Kevin and Frank Abbott, and they were given by John and Marianne Warnock. And so thank you for bringing that beauty into our sanctuary today. And then two brief corrections in your bulletin. For our reading this morning, the part of Meredith Bradley will be played by Linda Jones. Thank you, Linda, for doing that as well. And we neglected to mention that the Fountain Street Church Bell Choir is joining us again today for three of our musical pieces. So welcome to the Bell Choir, and you are also welcome to join the Bell Choir by reaching out to Emmanuel or Noah, or just send us an email at the office, and we'll get you connected. This Saturday is a Red Letter Day. this coming Saturday is going to be our Oratorio Memorial Concert, and this is a big deal. This is a big deal. And to tell us a bit more about that, we figured we'd have a reprise of the Chip and George show. So please give your attention now to these two fine gentlemen.
Good morning, and thank you, Nathan.
Good morning.
We were asked last fall if we could take up fundraising. And when people ask you to do that, you never really know what to expect. George and I strategized a couple of weeks ago. We were getting close to our target, but we're still not there. So we were strategizing some ideas, and you came up with a couple of them, George, I remember.
Yeah, there was that one that we thought it'll be a free concert, but then we'll have the ushers at the back door, and they won't let you out unless you cough up a bunch of money.
Yeah.
We ran that by Nathan, and he said, no, that's not radical hospitality. That's something else.
It was radical, but not the right kind.
Yeah.
We thought about car washes. We talked about doing car wash, and we thought, George and I thought maybe if we wore shorts.
I didn't think that.
Well, what I thought was people would pay us to put long slacks on, so we just decided we would come to you, and we want to tell you a little bit. We know some of you have asked questions. What is the memorial concert? So we thought we'd share a little bit about what this concert means to this body and has in the past.
Historically, it's been a time to memorialize people that have died in the past, and at the concert level, and in the bulletin have some memories listed, who's memorializing whom. We also then added not just people that have passed on, but people that are alive that we want to honor in some kind of way. So
I've seen pets that have been honored, a favorite teacher. It's just a process for us to actually bring them, hold them up into light. And we both feel that in this world, it's pretty dark and has been pretty dark lately. I think that our concert is spot on. Having listened to the music, I think it's hauntingly beautiful, bringing us from darkness into light and sharing that famous word that we all love, which is hope. So we just wanted to share that with you. And to let you know, we're still accepting donations. You can donate up to 9 o'clock tonight. We'll be waiting for them so we can get them in our bulletin, but we do appreciate all that you have done for us. You've done a fantastic job.
Yep. Any leftover money, in case you want to give more, you can give twice. There's no rule about that.
Yep.
The money will stay at the church and support the music department here at Fountain Street Church. Yep. So thank you very much for all you've done so far.
Yep. And join us next Saturday, 7 p.m. here at Fountain Street Church. The music will be wonderful, we promise.
Thank you.
Friends, before we sing our first hymn, number 270 this morning, let us take a moment and settle our hearts and re-acknowledge what it is we are about here in this very special place. We are about the pursuit of peace. Peace in our lives, in our relationships with each other, peace in our city, peace in our world. And so you may return this word of peace to me if you wish, and then I encourage you to greet each other with words of peace and welcome. Friends, may peace be with you. Let's greet each other with words of peace. Before we begin this time of commissioning, I want to invite Sue Clay to come forward and tell us a bit more about who the Befrienders are, and then I will invite some very special friends forward as well.
Good morning. I'm Sue Clay, one of the 4 leaders of the Befriender Ministry program here at Fountain Street Church. The other 3 leaders are Arlene Chettleberg, Mary Moore, and Mary Peterson. Dolly Lutz is also a current Befriender. I am proud to be here today to tell you about our Befriender Ministry and to participate in the commissioning service for our 6 new Befriender ministers. The Befriender Ministry program is a national program. It is a listening ministry. It requires 22 hours of training to be commissioned. Leadership training is done by the national office and is 4 full days of training. Nuria Love Parrish and Mary Thompson began the program in our church in February 2004. Since that time, we have trained many people to provide outreach to our congregation and have had many trained leaders. A sincere thanks to all persons who have shared their life's journey with our Befrienders. We are humbled by your trust in us. Our ministers are trained to provide a non-judgmental listening ear. Confidentiality is necessary and assured. Some reasons people call for a Befriender are illness, bereavement, aging parents, teen issues, divorce, family problems, loneliness, depression. The church staff makes referrals to us. Since our program began, we have had well over 100 referrals made to us. Since the Befriender minister may be involved with the congregation for a very short time or as long as is needed. We currently have 11 active Befriender ministers, which includes our 6 newly trained ministers who will be commissioned today. Would these wonderful people please come front to be recognized?
To help us with this, I also want to invite all of the children of the church who are here this morning to come forward. If you're a child, please come forward and join us up here on the steps as well. And we're going to leave the bells alone this week. Just come and have a seat up here on the steps. Yes, come and have a seat because something beautiful is about to happen. You can sit up here on the steps. And then, well done. Good, thank you. All the children of the church are welcome to come forward and help with this. Good morning. Okay, we got a few more coming. Make some space. Good morning. Okay, character school. Give me your attention. Put your eyes over here because I want you to see this and how this works. These wonderful folks who are here today are about to become healers and ministers and helpers. And I know that you are learning a lot about that in class, and so I wanted you to be here to watch this. And they're about to make some special promises to be healers. I know some of you know what that means, but a lot of times it just means being a friend, being a good friend. So pay attention and watch while these folks make these promises and become friends to the members of this church. And so now to all of you, thank God. You are wonderful. You have chosen and you have responded to God's call to use your gifts to serve others, especially those in our church who are lonely, who are grieving, who are dealing with illness or struggling with their life journey. You've been called forth by this community of faith to support in this ministry by our church leaders. Are you willing to serve as a listening, supportive presence with those to whom you are called as befrienders? If so, say we are.
We are.
Do you promise to continue to deepen your understanding of your ministry through regular participation in continuing education and reflection on your ministry? If so, say we do.
We do.
Do you promise to keep confidentiality? If so, say we do.
We do.
Do you acknowledge your own need for ministry as you listen to the stories of the people you serve? If so, say we do.
We do.
And now to all of you here in this room and to all of you character school children, will you help discern, foster, encourage, and support these Befriender ministers? If so, say we will.
Yeah.
Good. Wonderful. And Sue.
I now present you the newly trained befrienders, 4 of them. 2 are unable to be here, but as I call each name, Mary Peterson will give them her certificate, Arlene Chelberg will give them their pin, and Mary Moore will give them a rose. Jill Cunningham is not able to be here today. Linda Dodge. Carol Kepler. Joan Lundy. Saxony McCusick. Jim Winter Conway is unable to be here, but he was also trained in will be Mission Center.
Wonderful. And so now may you and those you visit be nourished by God's presence as you assume this role as a befriender. Can we celebrate and thank these people for this amazing gift of ministry? And now, before I release you, let us all together receive a very special blessing, and then I will release all of you to go on your character school adventures. Yes, what is it? Very quick.
So, I, as myself, there are many different ways to be a healer.
Yes, there are many different ways.
You can use plants and herbs around you. You can use your feelings to express yourself and help others. You can be a good friend. There are so many different ways out there to heal.
Yes, very good.
You are a healer, and everybody heals in their own way.
Well, thank you. That was very beautiful. Yes. That's something I gotta go to character school. That's okay. Let's go ahead and have a spring blessing this morning, because I know you are learning about springtime. Go ahead and raise a hand if you wish to, and then repeat after me. This week, we will begin to enjoy the fruits of spring. You can make your way to character school, and you folks can be seated. And thank you so much.
We will be reading Choose to Bless the World by Reverend Dr. Rebecca Parker. Your gifts, whatever you discover them to be, can be used to bless or curse the world.
The mind's power, the strength of the hands, the reaches of the heart, the gift of speaking, listening, imagining, seeing, and waiting.
Any of these can serve to feed the hungry, bind up wounds, welcome the stranger, praise what is sacred, do the work of justice, or offer love.
Any of these can draw the prison door, hoard the bread, abandon the poor, obscure what is really holy, comply with injustice, or withhold love.
You must answer the question.
What will you do with your gifts?
Choose to bless the world?
The choice to bless the world is more than just an act of will, a moving forward into the world with intention to do good. It is an act of recognition, of confession of surprise, of gratitude, grateful acknowledgement that in the midst of a broken world, unspeakable beauty, grace, and mystery abide.
There is an embrace of kindness that encompasses all life, even yours.
And while there is injustice, anesthetization, or evil, there moves a holy disturbance.
A benevolent rage.
A revolutionary love, protesting, urging, insisting.
That which is sacred will not be defiled.
Those who bless the world live their life as a gesture of thanks for this beauty.
And this rage.
The choice to bless the world can take you into solitude, to search the sources of your power and grace, native wisdom, healing, and liberation.
More, the choice will draw you into community, the endeavor shared, the heritage passed on.
The companionship of struggle, the importance of keeping faith.
The life of ritual and praise, the comfort of human friendship.
The company of earth.
The chorus of life welcoming you.
None of us alone can save the world.
Together, that is another possibility waiting.
Friends, let us take a moment together in silence and meditation and reflect on what we have seen and heard. Spirit, give me gentle urgency. Amen. Fountain Street Church, happy Sunday. So I wrote this sermon for the befrienders. This is a sermon about the befrienders, about healers, about people who are called out by their community and then called back in to serve as a special role, to be set aside to be a healer. And it's also about taking perspective in your own life, and that means wrestling with God, whatever that word means to you. And because of the way this came together, it necessitated talking about whether or not God is all-powerful and all-knowing, omniscience and omnipotence. And so we'll be talking about the question of God's role in our lives and the lives of our ancestors. And I do what I can to help out on this planet because I love the human beings who live there. And I don't believe that God is omniscient and omnipotent, and I'll say that right up front. And as far as I'm concerned, neither did the people who wrote the Bible. But I have to start with a story about a judge here in town because I heard a line from one of you this week, and you mentioned, and I can't remember which one of you it was to save my life, but you mentioned a local judge here in Grand Rapids, and the only thing that I can remember from the story is that you said about this local judge, oh, and he was a proud Calvinist, end quote. And it made my blood run cold. And But I know that in that moment when you said that, I laughed, because I laugh at scary things. It's a reflex. I know some of you probably have it too. Can't for the life of me remember who said this, but I've been turning it over. And I imagine this proud Calvinist judge, because of the nature of the story, I know he was a harsh man. And I know that his sentences came down hard and stayed hard, and there was no use appealing to the man's mercy, because this man had a theology that had quite logically abolished mercy in that courtroom. A proud Calvinist. Now, I do want to pause here for just a moment, because I realize that some of you have Calvinist family members, and I do not want to insult your grandmother. But I want to think through this out loud with you, because there's something cosmically absurd about a Calvinist judge that I can't shake. Now, some of you are already there. You're already out ahead of me a little ways. If they made you memorize the little acronym in the church you grew up in, the Calvinist, the TULIP, T-U-L-I-P, you know I'm talking about the U part, unconditional election, which is can be known as predestination. Predestination. Now I'm going to read from the book here. Let me read directly from Article 11 of the Canons of Dort. I'll bet you dollars to donuts that this is the first time someone has read from the Canons of Dort in the pulpit here. Okay. From Article 11, and as God himself is most wise, unchangeable, omniscient, and omnipotent, so the election made by him can neither be interrupted nor changed, recalled nor annulled, neither can the elect be cast away, nor their number diminished. End quote. Unchangeable, omniscient, and omnipotent. Canons of Dort, Christian Reformed Church. And those were omniscient, omnipotent, that's not the Bible. That's the Greeks. That's Hellenism. Scientific determinism written up as a theology. But then it makes me ask, of course, naturally, if God has already determined before the beginning of time, before the first molecules formed and collided, and before the first star collapsed into the first dark and brilliant nothing, and this whole thing got started, if God had already determined every event and every action and every outcome, including every crime that would be committed, then what the hell do we have judges for? If the burglar was predestined to burgle and the con man predestined to con, if every theft and assault scripted in the mind of God, then the judge is just a prop. The prison is a set piece. And the closed heart of that judge, of course, was also predestined, including this interminable story about the judge, I suppose, whatever you're going to do with the rest of your Sunday today. But I do not believe that about the universe. And I don't think that most of you do either, and frankly, to be honest, I don't think that the Calvinists do, or they wouldn't go to law school. I think that we are here in this cosmos, awake, alive, and present on this particular morning together because something very real and genuine and cosmic is at stake from moment to moment. So Reverend Dr. Parker, in that reading we just heard, asked us a question. We just heard that reading from Linda and Chip, and Dr. Parker holds this up like a lantern. What will you do with your gifts? That question only makes sense if you can actually answer it differently than you did yesterday. So I'll say the next part plainly. Free will is a holy gift. And no God in any religion, no God in any political philosophy, no God in any economic system, no God that cancels your freedom is a God worth worshiping. And I think for me, free will is not just a small thing. It's not just a door prize for being born as a human. I think that free will is the hinge point upon which hangs the fate of the entire universe from moment to moment. Here's the thing that the Bible does over and over and over again that many people find troubling, but that I find to be one of the most beautiful things about this book. God changes their mind. And not just once, and not twice, repeatedly. As a pattern. There's a pattern of God changing their mind. And you see a pattern in any holy book, and that's like a little sign that says, pay attention. Book of Exodus, chapter 32. Moses is up on Mount Sinai, and the people have made themselves a golden calf. Down at the bottom, and that ancient story is not about a cow. It's about this seductive gravity of shiny, powerful things that promise to keep us safe. And God looks down at what's happened and says to Moses, stand aside, I am going to destroy them. And Moses says, hang on a second, God. Wait. Moses argues with God. Moses reminds God of the promises they made to Abraham and Isaac and Israel. And then Moses kind of says, have you really thought through the optics of this situation? And the text says, quote, and the Lord changed his mind about the disaster that he planned to bring on his people. End quote. God changed their mind. And back to Abraham in Genesis 18. Abraham is standing at the edge of the city of Sodom, bargaining with God like a man at a market. Sodom, a city fixed to be destroyed for the sin of inhospitality and cruelty toward the poor. And Abraham's bargaining that there are people in that city who do care about the poor and the immigrant stranger. And what if there's 50 righteous people? Will you spare it for 50 people? And God says, I suppose I would spare it for 50 righteous people. But Abraham has some reservations about 50. So he keeps bargaining. Well, what about 40? 20? 10? And God keeps saying, yes. There's a negotiation. The outcome is not settled. In 1 Samuel, the book of 1 Samuel, the word of the Lord came to Samuel, quote, I regret that I have made Saul king, for he has turned away from me. God regrets. That's the word that the text uses. You cannot regret something that was predetermined. Book of Jonah. This was Duncan Littlefair's second favorite book of Jonah. The prophet who did not want to preach. Jonah finally shows up in Nineveh and he delivers history's worst sermon ever. It's 8 words in Hebrew, roughly 40 more days and Nineveh will be overthrown. That's the sermon. And the people of Nineveh repent. And the text says, quote, when God saw what they did and how they turned from their evil ways, God relented and did not bring on them the destruction that he had threatened. This is not an ancient book about a story of a God who wrote the script. It describes a God and a people who are writing the story together. It's a book with stories about a God who writes with the people. And so this is the God described by process theology. Process is not a God who's a king above the fray, but who's a lover inside of it, pulling the people always toward that which is good, but never forcing, never overriding, never sweeping away the genuine freedom of the creature. God is not like a child sitting alone in a room playing with toys. And that is an omniscient and omniscient being. It's smashing the toy soldiers together, or making them kiss, or whatever. That's a small God. In fact, and I think an omnipotent God is the smallest God that I can think of. The one verse that is inscribed on my own heart from Deuteronomy chapter 24, Joshua says, choose this day whom you will serve. Choose. Now, Jesus knew all of this. Jesus knows this because whatever you say about Jesus, he's always arguing with people, Jesus is not omnipotent or omniscient. The Gospel of Mark, and when Jesus returns to Nazareth and preaches, but it says, quote, he could not do any miracles there. He could not. Not that he would not that he chose not to, he could not. And the very next verse says, he was amazed at their unbelief. The light within him is constrained by the interior freedom of the people in front of him. The miracle doesn't happen because the people don't open the door. Divine power does not bulldoze. It waits. It knocks. Jesus' ministry is always responsive. It's a conversation. Now, one last story from the Bible, and this one's important because it was told to me by the minister of a very, very large, a massive liberal church down south in Florida, of all places. Big, beautiful church. He said I could tell this story to any search committee who asked me what I hope to accomplish in the first 3 years of my ministry. And it is a story of Elijah the prophet in the wilderness. And Prophet Elijah is in the wilderness. The land around them is ravaged by drought, and he has been at the Wadi Kerith, is what it's called. It's this dry riverbed in the desert. He stays there for 3 years. That's his church. Ravens are bringing him bread to eat. He's drinking from the brook. He's invisible to the world. And I think he thinks, the world's going to hell, but Elijah may be the only human on the planet at that point who is worshiping Yahweh. Well, eventually God sends him north to a foreign city, to a place called Zarephath. 3 years of nothing and then time to do some ministry. He finds a widow gathering sticks. This widow's gathering sticks for the last fire she'll ever build, to make the last meal she'll ever cook for herself and her son so that they may lay down and die. Elijah asks her for water. He asks her for bread. There's something almost absurd about this. But she and him, he's inviting her into trust, and she does. She trusts him, and she trusts him and feeds him. The flour doesn't run out, and the oil doesn't run out, and they dwell there together in her home for a few days. But then, my God, the child dies. And Elijah carries the child up to the upper room and lays him on the bed and prays and stretches his body over this child. It's so present. He's a healer. And the child breathes again and lives. Now, on the scale of cosmic history, this is a very small, intimate moment. This prophet nobody knows, and a widow nobody knows, and a child whose name we don't even know, in a city that is so small and foreign it barely registers on the map of the ancient world. And in the scale of the galaxy, or galaxies, there's 400 billion stars in our galaxy, and there's something like 2 trillion galaxies in the observable universe. This event, it's easy to imagine it doesn't even move the needle. But for that woman, for that mother, in that moment, when her child breathes, the entire universe is saved. That is not just sentimentality. That is theology. The entire architecture of creation, the whole beautiful, impossible project of existence, bends down like its great and holy wave, and all is vindicated and redeemed in that moment. Rebecca Parker writes that those who bless the world live their lives as a gesture of gratitude. This is the blessing. And everything else, all the kings and the armies and the empires and their imaginary borders, that's all Ozymandias stuff. That will turn to dust. It will pass away. But for that widow, some small act of mercy saves the universe. And God is right there in that moment. As much there in that tiny moment as in the whole universe. William Sloane Coffin, probably the greatest preacher, one of the greatest preachers of the 20th century, and God help me, he preached in this pulpit 4 times. He said of the death of his own son, Alex, his boy was 21 when he died in 1982. Reverend Coffin said, "The one thing that should never be said when someone dies is it is the will of God." Never do we know enough to say that. My own consolation lies in knowing that it was not the will of God that Alex die, that when the waves closed over his sinking car, God's heart was the first of all our hearts to break. And I believe that. And I also believe that every act of harm, every cruelty, every abandonment, every moment when someone's alone, left alone in their suffering, I believe that none of that is small to God. I think that when the universe shatters, God's there in the shattering. Weeping first, grieving first, not managing it from a distance or accounting for it in some sort of larger plan, but there, moved. And in each blessing, the entire consciousness of the cosmos is there, watching and hoping and trusting. Because a God who is not moved is not God. Jesus' favorite metaphor for smallness, for small things. He says, the kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed. If you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you can move these mountains. He's talking about scale. Powerful, he is confronting this idea that it is only the big things that are powerful and consequential, but that's the wrong scale. It's the wrong perspective. Scale, for him, it works the other way around. The mustard seed is greater than the mountain. The small act is the tectonic force. There are idols that challenge this idea, and Rebecca Parker names them in that poem too. There is a false god of authoritarian power, which says you do not choose, you obey, or says that the law is above our conscience and the state is above the human. That false god is the god that builds detention centers and attacks the poorest neighborhoods and the people who live there, and decides which of us deserve to exist in this country. That God wants to make choices for you. There's a false god of carceral capitalism, the god of extraction, which says your value is your productivity, and if you fall alone. And that there's somehow some reason that the billionaires earned their hoards of gold. That is an idol. There is a small god of shame, maybe the most intimate of the idols, the one that lives inside of us and speaks in our own voice and says, you screwed up, you're too broken, you're too late, you're not enough. And that God is a liar. And none of these gods are worthy of worship. The God of the good ancestors, the one who said to Moses, I have heard my people cry. The God whose heart breaks first. That God would never remove anyone's freedom. To the contrary, that God is the force of life and beauty, and that God depends on our freedom and watches and hopes and wonders what we'll do with the gifts we're given. This week, somebody in this room is going to send a text message to a person who's drowning in the dark, and you won't know exactly what to say. And probably it will be imperfect and awkward, and you'll send it anyway. And in the moment that message arrives, that person is going to feel less alone. And the entire cosmos is going to shake and vibrate with joy. That is your cosmic authority. That is your power. I was reading the words to this anthem we're about to hear, as Frank Tikeli puts it. We will sing, be, live, and see. Someone in this room is going to go to a protest or write a letter or show up for a person who needed them to show up, or someone in this room will refuse a lie, or they'll forgive an enemy, which is the hardest and perhaps the most earth-shaking. But every one of these, a mustard seed, every one of these things is the beginning of an entirely new universe. And every one of these acts is saving the universe in that moment it takes place. And I need you to feel the size of that. Because the powers and principalities want you to feel very small. They want you to look at the scale of what they've built. The police states, the concentration camps, or the digital algorithms, the consolidated wealth, the marbled halls of these courthouses, or whatever it is, and then conclude that your small, free, beautiful choices don't matter. But they are wrong. And all of that will turn to dust. And you, with your text message and your voice and your handful of flour and a mustard seed, you're bending the universe. You are the act of creation. Because in the economy of the God who changes their mind and weeps first and is amazed at faith and could not do miracles without people, in that economy, your free choices are not footnotes. They're the whole story. So each moment, we have to ask the question, will I save the world? The whole world in that mustard seed of a moment. And so then go forth. As healers, make the universe sing. Sing, be, live, see in the midst of it all as healers, because you have the power and the authority by your free will and by the cosmic power still in the process of creating, that power who is still moved and surprised and waiting to hear an answer in those moments. You have been given the power to remake the entire universe in each and every beautiful, free, fierce, holy moment of your life. With every single moment, every moment, it all matters. It all matters. Amen. Amen. Your generosity, your giving is translated into action, into hope, and into sanctuary here at Fountain Street Church. And so in a moment, I will invite the ushers to come forward to receive any gifts or donations that you've brought to support this beautiful place that we love. And thank you. I invite the ushers to come.
Swing low, sweet chariot, come for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, come for to carry me home. Over Jordan, and what did I see? Coming for to carry me home. A band of angels coming after me, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home.
with hearts filled with reverence and gratitude for all that we have received and all that has been given to us by the ancestors and by the good earth, we bless these gifts that they may go forth into this world to sow good seeds for those who come after. So may it be. Friends, let's sing our closing hymn, number 298, together. And now, friends, please join me in our responsive sending. The world will be saved by love. We go.